Hi everyone, welcome to the channel dedicated to sharing the profound insights and wisdom of Andromedan Contactee Alex Collier. If you're new here, you're in for a journey that expands your mind and consciousness, bringing you closer to understanding the messages from the fifth density Andromedan extraterrestrials. For those returning, we're grateful for your continued support. Before we dive into today's enlightening content, we have a small favor to ask. If you find value in the knowledge shared in this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us amplify Alex Collier's message, allowing us to reach a larger audience with these vital messages. We'd also love to hear from you, so please engage with the comments below. Whether it's a question, your thoughts, or even just an emoji for the sake of engagement, every comment counts. We read every single comment, and your feedback is incredibly valuable to us, as it all contributes to our mission of expanding this community. So please don't hesitate to leave your thoughts below. Additionally, if you'd like to support us further, consider giving a super thanks tip by clicking the heart with the $sign. This small gesture allows us to continue bringing you more of Alex's messages, unfiltered and directly from his lifelong experiences with the Andromedans. Today's video includes a compilation of several of the many important questions Alex Collier has received over the past few years, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video.
Alex, what do you think will happen to the breakaway Nazis who are under Antarctica with their space bases on asteroids, moons, and perhaps planets as well? Will they be judged negatively by the Andromedans because of their use of slave labor, their abductions, etc.? Or, yeah, that's it.
I don't believe the A's are going to be a part of any kind of like a judicial system in that way. But let's look at this idea. They're Terran. They're of Earth. Ultimately, it will come back to us to deal with them. Will they be corralled? Will they be trapped from doing very negative things, assuming that's what they've been doing? Yes, they will. There's already pushback. Okay, there's already pushback going on. There are things going on Mars that we're not aware of that are correcting some terrible wrongs that have been going on there, especially with corporations that have been running those colonies. Corporations that have been running those colonies and other bases that we have in our solar system and maybe outside. They're all being managed by corporations from Earth or earthbound. They're all going to be dealt with. And it may be for all of the space programs laid out before. But before we could even deal with that, we have to fix home first. We have to be solid here. We have to be stable here first, because this is home. If they force them all to come back, they're going to bring them back here. We have to be solid. We have to be clear about what's right, and what's wrong. We have to be clear about that ourselves first. And we have to know the actual difference. And we all have to agree that what's been going on is no longer going to be allowed. Because this model is mostly what's out there. We're just propagating it out there. Okay? That's why it's not being allowed. That's why it's not being allowed. And that's why the pushback is bringing everybody back in to the inside of the solar system. I'm not exactly sure how that's all going to play out. It may very well be that there are some extraterrestrial councils or groups that are going to want to have a part in reprimanding specific parts of our space program that have been very rogue and very negative. But if I'm right about how they operate, we here on Earth will be participating in that situation. In other words, because they have gone out and they're a part of our race, we will be part of the knowledge of the trials, of the retribution that will occur, so that we will have a clear idea of what exactly are the rules of behavior, the protocols of behavior once you leave Earth and go into space. Okay? What we did to the Native Americans was not okay. It was not okay. And we cannot do that out there. There's going to be pushback. There are going to be ramifications. And I've heard some of that's already occurred. But we've got to we've got to come through, we've got to move through some things here first. I can tell you that the solar system is locked down. Big time lockdown. And it's being policed. And the chickens will be coming home to roost. I don't have timelines. Everything at this point is event-based. How it's all going to unfold, it's a daily event. It's really a daily event. But I want you to know that we're there. We are there. We're at this turning point right now. Okay? The white hats, the benevolents are all sitting over the targets. You see? And once the truth bombs start exploding, we're going to lose faith in government. We have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared for that. And there has to be a conversation amongst the people in each of our countries. How are we going to deal with this? What is it that we actually do? Because we've all taken it for granted the government will fix it. In most cases, the government's the actual problem here because they've institutionalized criminality, larceny. And they're working for private corporations and not the citizens. They forgot about the citizens a long, long time ago. Okay? And that means that these institutions are going to need a lot of fresh blood. And I'm not talking death. I'm talking about you, the citizens of the world, stepping up and moving into positions of leadership in your countries, in your cities, and basically starting over. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. We're there. We're there. Any moment, this is going to change. Okay? Any moment, the reset is going to occur, and it's probably going to come out of the blue. These are all things that are working in tandem together. And as far as the reset, 205 countries are moving together to get this done. That's extraordinary. And you're not hearing a word about it. Okay? But it's happening. It really, really is happening.
Are the Ciakar where we get our dragon mythologies? And if so, why do Asians, especially the Chinese, see dragons as their protectors?
Different relationships. Maybe not all Ciakars are bad. There's always duality in almost everything. That's a really, really good question. I don't know what the relationships that the Asians had with the Ciakar or the dragons. But it's obvious that in other cultures, the dragons, aka Ciakar, were very malevolent. And I, not having been around in those days, I simply couldn't tell you why. I'm absolutely sure about the information that I've shared, over the last 28 years about the Ciakar and the reptilian race, especially the malevolent groups that I've shared information on. I'm absolutely positive about that information. But I also know that there were others who weren't okay with that they themselves wanted something different. But the reptilian races live in a class system. And if you were not of a royal class, then you were controlled and manipulated and used for whatever the bidding of the royal class was. You did not have any freedoms. And it's that group, the warrior group, that has been known to be the most abusive to other races. To evolving races when they went to planets and they took over. And it could be they fed off the power, they fed off the fear. Some of them found a taste for the flesh. These things are all documented. And they're not just documented on this planet. There are other places where, this is history of other civilizations, is their interactions with this group. So it just is what it is. I think one day, maybe our children's children will know the full story about it all. They'll hear the stories, they'll see the history, they'll see the historical documents, the holographic films of what their histories were and their interaction with different races. As information is shared between our culture and other cultures sharing their history with us. As we become more and more part of the galactic family, those interactions will occur. That exchange of information is going to occur, as well as other things, music, botany, life forms. All those things will be shared. It's going to be something that's going to be remarkable. It really is.
Are we going to get protection from the demonic entities from the lower fourth dimension? Are these guys a bigger threat than the Orions and other regressives? Is there any sort of technology that could help heal their souls and get them to incarnate into human form again?
I don't know. You're assuming that some of them have been human before. I don't know that that's true. Excuse me, I don't know that that's true. As far as protection, I think we've been given a lot of protection. I think we have more than we realize. And I don't know that they're going to let us know exactly how much we have, because human beings on this planet have had a tendency to not work as hard when they know that they're covered, when their back is covered. So, in my personal opinion, and that's all it is, I think yes. I think our biggest protection from these satanic forces, I think you called it, or demon forces, is awareness, is to know who we're dealing with and to avoid them and not allow them to bully us with any kind of fear or anything else. In other words, hold your ground. What you're dealing with is something that's either third density or fourth density. You know, Laura, many of us are at least fifth, sixth, or seventh. You can kick their ass. You can kick their ass. You just have to know it. You have to own it. You know, you got to own it. Don't you be running that bullshit up on me. You need to move on down the road. You know? That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Next question.
All right. On the similar question, you mentioned demons in the last webinar. Do the Andromedans ever have to deal with them, or do demons only interact with our lower dimension?
Very good question. My understanding is that there is virtually no real duality in fifth density and up. So it's really the third and the fourth dimensional realm where you have that extreme duality, to the point where you have ultimate dark and you have ultimate light. And somewhere in between all that is where everybody else tries to be, is in the middle somewhere, to balance themselves, to figure out what the balance is between the light and the dark, to stay out of trouble. If they have religions in fourth density, then I could understand where there'd be some confusion, where you wouldn't know the difference fully, where you would move back and forth, you know, looking for what works and what's right and how you feel, etc. Here in third density, though, we definitely have a strong presence of a dark force. But we also have incredible light, enormous light. But by keeping us dumbed down, we don't know how to defend ourselves. You see? And that's been a real injustice to humanity, because we haven't been given the tools to not only recognize, but also to defend ourselves. And that sucks, frankly. I think that's why there has to be so much intervention. It's for that very, very reason. I mean, look at how much of our history regarding extraterrestrials is missing, or ancient civilizations is missing that we're not taught. One civilization that no one talks about is what was in the Mississippi Valley from here in Missouri all the way to down into South America, the Native American civilizations. that no one talks about. Pyramids, everything. You know, and that's just one. I mean, now they're uncovering ancient civilizations they had no idea existed in the Gobi Desert. So there's a lot going on. It's just, you know, the media isn't talking about any of it. You know, it's fear, fear, fear. It's hate, hate, hate. It's blame, blame, blame. That's it. That's the frequency they want. That's where they want our focus, is in that realm. And they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it on purpose. You know, because where focus goes, energy flows. So they know what they're doing. We're not always aware of what they're doing because we haven't had the training, the education to understand and recognize what we're really dealing with. And that's why we're here. That's why a bunch of us are here. Okay. I'm ready for the next one.
All right. Now, Margaret Moreno is saying, are we winning? Will we be okay?
Yeah. Yes, we are winning. Yes, we'll be okay. There are going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be very ugly moments coming as the one side lashes out as it's dying off. Because in order to project so much fear, they actually have to have that much fear. And that's what we're seeing, is the projection of their fear on everybody else. So, yeah, we're winning. We're definitely winning. We're not going to have to do this again. This time it's going to get done right. Good question. Thank you very much.
The names that Andromedans use, i.e. Morene, Visayas, have you heard other Andromedan names? Also, do you know what their names mean?
Okay. They are a holographic. Their consciousness is holographic. So when they talk to each other using telepathy, they use entire concepts and symbols. Each symbol is a mathematical equation, if you were to break it down in third density. Early on in the 90s, when I was beginning to talk about this, I showed you symbols. And those symbols represent concepts that they talk about. Morene's symbol is something that's completely indecipherable to us. So I asked him for a name. And you know, that's a great story to tell you about Visayas. So I asked him for a name. I said, I have to call you something. I have to acknowledge you some way, because that's what we do here. And it was over a period of at least 2 contacts, it may have even been 3, where Morene said, look, the resonance of my symbol would be somewhat equivalent to a word or a frequency that I will share with you. And he said, you call me Morane. Morane. That's exactly how he said it the first time. Morane. That's how, and then it just became Morane after that. Visayas was always a tougher cookie. It wasn't like until the seventh contact. I would just acknowledge him and I would bow my head and I would speak to him, not addressing him personally in any way because I didn't know how to. And I damn sure wasn't going to call him, "Hey, old man," because, I'd find myself floating back home in space. At least that's what I thought. If I insulted him, and, because I had trouble figuring him out. So it was actually Mornay who gave me the name that they had agreed on together for me to address Visayas. And apparently Visayas had a specific lifetime. It wasn't the present lifetime, but he had a favorite lifetime where he spent a great deal of time traveling to different star systems and meeting different star nations as an ambassador of sorts. Someone who was negotiating things. And that particular lifetime he always felt was his favorite. So they agreed that I would address him by that frequency. And that frequency was Visayas. That is the frequency of his name in that particular lifetime that he really liked, that he enjoyed, and he thought was his best lifetime today, not the present one. And that's how I addressed him, as Visayas. I was addressing him present time, but I was also addressing a past version of himself. I've never told that story before. This is the first time I've ever told that story. Wow. See, that's why I love the Q&A. That's why I love the Q&A. It brings things up that are just tucked away in corners of my mind. So thanks. That was a good question. So yeah, Visayas was something. He was a trip. Visayas was a trip.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. If you'd like to support the channel even more, you can give us a super thanks tip by clicking the heart icon with a $sign. It really helps our team bring you more content. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan Contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.